It was meant to be a simple road trip, a weekend adventure with my friend Jack. The sun was beginning its slow descent, casting an amber glow on the trees as we drove along a winding road that cut through the heart of a dense forest. But our excitement faded when our car suddenly sputtered to a halt, the gas gauge hovering ominously at empty. Panic crept in as we realized our predicament. No phone signal, and the desolate forest offered no signs of life. The forest seemed to amplify its eerie ambience as nightfall loomed, engulfing us in a veil of darkness. The silence was oppressive, broken only by unsettling sounds, the rustling leaves and distant, haunting howls. With a sinking feeling, we knew we had no choice but to embark into the unknown, hoping to find help or a shred of civilization. Each step we took felt like a hesitant dance into the unknown, the forest closing in around us, the trees casting elongated shadows that seemed to reach for us. As the night deepened, we stumbled upon an old, weather-worn cabin. Desperation drove us to seek shelter within its decaying walls. The air inside was heavy, laden with the scent of neglect and decay. A feeble, flickering candle barely pierced the encroaching darkness, offering little comfort in the face of the surrounding desolation. Huddled together, the night outside came alive with haunting symphonies, the unnerving wails of unknown creatures, the creaks of the dilapidated cabin, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on grotesque shapes, and an unwelcome chill settled deep in our bones. With each passing hour, our sense of time blurred, and the line between reality and nightmare faded. The whispers we heard, whether carried by the wind or something more sinister, added to our mounting fear. The candle flickered, threatening to extinguish in the encompassing darkness. Just when it felt unbearable, the first light of dawn filtered through the cabin's dusty windows. With trembling hands, we made our way back to our car. Miraculously, it now had enough gas to start. We sped away, leaving the haunting forest and its mysteries behind. Yet, Jack and I still carry the weight of that night. The chilling whispers and the bone-deep coldness of the forest haunt our memories, a constant reminder of the sinister enigmas hidden within that desolate woodland. The clock struck midnight, and the lonely stretch of road ahead seemed to stretch into infinity. My hands gripped the wheel as my friend, Emma, and I trudged through the night on our road trip. Then, a sickening cough, and our faithful car shuddered to a halt. The gas gauge mocked us, sitting stubbornly at empty. Midnight, the witching hour, and we were stranded on a desolate road, surrounded by an unending expanse of darkness. Our phones flashed no signal, cutting us off from the world. The night was thick with an eerie stillness, broken only by the distant howls of unseen creatures and the rustling of the night breeze. We decided to take our chances and venture out into the unknown, hoping to stumble upon a haven in the desolate night. Each step felt like a cautious tiptoe into the abyss, the darkness swallowing us whole, the road disappearing into a void of uncertainty. As the night deepened, we stumbled upon an old, forgotten motel, its flickering neon sign barely illuminating the surrounding desolation. With trepidation, we entered, the musty smell of neglect assaulting our senses. A lone reception bell echoed through the empty lobby, a ghostly sound in the dead of night. The motel room offered little comfort. The air was heavy, thick with the weight of the night. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on sinister shapes, and the faintest whisper of a draft added to the surreal atmosphere. Every creak and groan of the building echoed through the stillness, amplifying the eerie silence. We tried to pass the time, but the hours crawled by at an excruciating pace. Midnight turned into an unending chasm of uncertainty, every moment hanging heavy with the unknown. The flickering lights outside added to the surreal, dreamlike state we found ourselves in. The first light of dawn was a blessed sight, filtering through the motel's curtains. We made our way back to the car, and miraculously, it sprang back to life, as if the night had never happened. We drove away from the haunting midnight stillness, the echoes of that eerie night following us like a lingering chill down our spines. The sun beat down mercilessly on the vast, unforgiving desert. My friend, Alex, and I were on an adventure, cruising through a desolate expanse that seemed to stretch endlessly. But our excitement fizzled out when our car came to a spluttering halt, the gas tank now glaringly empty. The heat was oppressive, and the horizon stretched out in all directions, a barren landscape offering no reprieve. Our phones displayed no service, leaving us stranded in a sea of sand and silence. The stillness of the desert was broken only by the occasional whisper of the wind, carrying the eerie secrets of the vast emptiness. Realizing we were in a predicament, we decided to brave the scorching desert in search of aid. Each step on the hot sand felt like a precarious journey into the unknown, the mirages playing tricks on our eyes and the heat distorting our sense of direction. Hours passed, and just when our hope was waning, we stumbled upon an old, weather-worn gas station, a relic in the midst of the desert. Its faded sign barely stood, a faint promise of potential salvation. We entered, the air heavy with dust and neglect, a stark contrast to the relentless heat outside. The gas station offered little respite, the air thick with the stifling heat of the desert. Shadows danced on the worn walls, creating eerie patterns that seemed to shift with the blazing heat. Every creak and groan of the station echoed through the desolate surroundings, amplifying the emptiness of the desert. We waited, each moment feeling like an eternity under the unrelenting sun. The heat seemed to warp time, stretching each minute into an agonizing ordeal. The distant mirages played tricks on our eyes, adding to the surreal experience. Finally, as the sun began its descent, relief came in the form of a passing car. With their help, we managed to refuel our vehicle and set off once more, leaving the unforgiving desert behind. But the memories of that scorching day lingered, a haunting reminder of the isolation and endless expanse of the desert, a place that seemed to swallow time itself.